Hi, I'm Matthew Barnaby. Today I'm doing the Power Play Break, the place to talk pucks.
Back here with Bobby Taylor, Tampa Bay Lightning analyst for television. Did my research, I found that you're a huge fan of The Sound of Music. and recently, and my daughters are very passionate about The Sound of Music. Recently, NBC, last week, ran The Sound of Music live. My question to you is, could you play the role of Captain Von Trapp?
Well, I saw it with Christopher Plummer. I don't know. It did be something.
Can you sing? Can you act?
If I'm in the shower, I can really sing.
So we'll have a Sound of Music in the shower.
In the shower, yeah. Isn't that funny? Where'd you get that? I tell you what, I love that show.
What is it about? What are the appeals about to you?
I love the music. And Julie Andrews, to me, was an incredible singer. You know what I mean? And here you are, you're this big, tough hockey player, you know. And I actually saw it in St. Louis in a theater that was made for the World's Fair. Whenever St. Louis had the World's Fair, what was that, 1904 or something like that? It was the wildest theater. It was a beautiful theater. And a couple of our guys, we had a big, tough defenseman, Gary Kilpatrick. He was crying in the movie. At least I didn't cry in the movie.
What's the worst moment you've had in broadcasting where it's been like horrible, where just nothing has gone right for you?
Well, I've had some embarrassing moments. One of them was when I forgot Eddie Van Imp's name. My teammate and good friend, and like in Philly, I was also kind of like the host as well, you know. So I'd bring people back from the commercial and take us into commercial. And I said, "Hey, welcome back to the Spectrum. I'm Bobby Taylor, along with." He turned to me and goes, "Ed Van Imp." I said, "I knew that."
Oh my God!
But I mean, things like that. Broadcasting, I think one of the worst times is when you're not prepared.
Yeah.
And there hasn't been many of them, but a couple times, and you just feel it in yourself. You know what? I just didn't bring my A game. And if you don't bring your A game in hockey as a player,
you're gonna get creamed.
You don't play. You're on the end of the bench.
You're gonna get creamed.
Yeah.
What do you do to get away from calling hockey? Like, what do you do? What else hobbies do you have?
I love to play golf.
Yeah.
I love to play golf. I can't play it as well as I used to, and even back then I wasn't that good. But I think the lowest I ever got to was a 7. But that's long gone.
Yeah.
But I love golf. I mean, I think it's the hardest game I ever played, and it really challenges the individual. You can't blame anything on it but yourself, and that's what I love. But golf was a big passion of mine. I love to watch baseball.
Big Rays fan?
Big Rays fan. Huge Rays fan.
Go to quite a game?
I'm always second guessing John Madden.
Did you tell him that? Yeah, John, I got to talk to you.
Yeah, you know, but everybody knows it, so I don't know. They said that if I ever met John, we'd be best of friends.
Oh.
And but I know I get so upset. You know, I'm as passionate about baseball just about as I am about hockey.
Favorite arena to play in?
Chicago Stadium. That was incredible. It was so loud. And then when they scored, that damn boat horn would go off. You would jump out of your skin. I remember telling Pelle Lindbergh that one time when he was going. It was his first game in there. I said, "Gump," I said, "Listen, I know you've been around. You've been in every world stage and everything. But believe me, if Chicago scores on you tonight, be ready." And well, they won the game. I come down to that stadium. He looked at me and says, "Holy cow, you were right." He says, that scared me. It was crazy. But that was the best stadium to play in.
Biggest influence you had in your career as a player? Who was the biggest person who gave you the best influence?
Probably Glenn Hall.
Yeah.
At that young age, him and my brother. My brother was the one that really got me going. He got me into hockey, got me into sports, period. My dad didn't play sports, and of course he worked at night being a janitor. So, but my brother was big, and Glenn Hall was probably the most influential guy for me.
Best piece of advice you've ever given?
Get your schooling. You know what? If you look at it, yeah, they make a lot of money. But you know, you work your muscles, you work your legs, you work your arms, you work your abs, you work your back and everything. The muscle between the ears is what makes it in the NHL, what makes it in any major league sport. The guy that's the smart guy. And you know, Chris, we've all seen great players, great athletes that growing up. I wonder why they never made it. Well, because you know what? They never used this muscle. And this muscle has to be exercised.
2 best friends or 3 best friends in the league?
Well, Bobby Clark, Steve Coates.
Oh, Coatsy.
Coatsy, oh my God! You know, we never.
He's a character.
Oh my God, we never played together on this. Well, I would go down when Freddie would send me down for 2 weeks to get in shape. I'd stay with Coatsy, and he always makes a big deal out of it to this day. Anyway, and he scored a goal on me. God, I hope you don't have him on this show.
Oh, he's going to be on eventually.
Oh God, he's going to tell you about that damn goal. Anyway, and Ross Lonsberry, still very tight, and Ors Kinderchuk. I mean, most of those guys on that team, but those 2 guys, Kinderchuk, Lonsberry, and Clarkey, were really, really, really good friends. And Coatsy.
Who gave you the most trouble as a player?
Rod Gilbert.
And why?
He could shoot the eyes out of him. You know, I mean, he got a really good shot. He was really accurate. And I don't know, he was one of those slippery guys you never could see where he was going. And oh man, he drove me nuts, Rod Gilbert. Good guy, too. I got to know him after.
What's it like to be traded?
At the time I got traded, I was happy because, you know, I really wanted, I wanted to prolong my career. And I was kind of the throw-in anyway with him going to Pittsburgh. But I thought, oh, boy, this is a great chance for me to play longer. Like, I think I retired at 32 or 3. And, you know, when you're playing, you think, oh, I'm going to play until I'm 38 anyway, easy. Well, I think any player should, that's another thing you should listen. If you think you can play to your 36, make sure you're ready at 32 to get out of the game.
If you could have one superpower in the world today, what would it be, and how would you use it?
One superpower. I'd like to be able to fly.
Yeah, just be able to get up and
just fly.
Just get up and go.
Yeah,
and drive a hat and just.
Yeah, anybody that's been caught in a traffic jam knows that one. But I mean, no, I'd love to be able to fly. I think that'd be the coolest thing, is to be able to fly.
And finally, if you could go back and play in one game in history, or broadcast one game in history, what would it be for you?
Wow. I think I'd love to have played a Stanley Cup game. Or, you know what, or maybe even that Russian game that we beat the Russians when they walked off the ice.
In 76.
I was supposed to play half that game. Well, Stevenson had the hat trick going. And Bernie, of course, had got in the eye then. And Wayne had the hat trick going. And Freddie came to me and said, do you mind if Steph stays in because he's got a hat trick going? He only had 8 shots at the time. What am I going to say? No, I want to go in. You can't do that.
One final thought, though, I just want to bring up, too. Bernie Perrant, what kind of a player, guy?
Tremendous. To me, he was the best goalie in the world. For those 3 years with us, bar none. There was nobody better. I know Kenny Dryden was pretty good, but Bernie was the best. I mean, he was incredible. He won that series, the Stanley Cups for us, you know. I mean, really, against Boston. And a crazy guy. We were really good friends. I enjoyed Ben to no end, and you know, and him and Jingles, his dog, that he always had to have his pregame nap with him. And I always kidded him. I said, I remember one time I was in Key West and happened to walk into Sloppy Joe's, and there was this great big picture on the wall. I says, hey, Bernie's got his picture on the wall. And it was Ernest Hemingway. He looks exactly like Ernest Hemingway.
Well, I want to thank you very much. Wonderful stories, great memories to live. I really appreciate your time coming on the Power Play break with us today.
Chris, I enjoyed it as much as you, believe me. It's fun, and maybe we'll do an R-rated version one time.
Sounds like a plan. That'll do it for this edition of the Power Play break. I'm Chris Riley, and remember, this is the place to talk about pucks.